News Alert.
10 years after a Bardstown mother disappeared, a man who's been considered the prime suspect for years is found guilty on all charges. Emotional moments from Crystal Rogers' family and her supporters shortly after the verdict was read, as some finally have justice after a decade of waiting. A jury found Brooks Houck guilty of murder, principal or accomplice, and tampering with evidence. Houck was dating Rogers at the time of her high-profile 2015 disappearance. He was the last person to see her alive. And one of Houck's former employees, Joseph Lawson, was also found guilty of conspiracy to commit murder and tampering with evidence. The prosecutors say that he drove Rogers' car to the Bluegrass Parkway. That's where her car was found after she was reported missing, with all of her belongings still inside. And here at 6, we are bringing you the biggest developments as we continue to follow what's next in the Crystal Rogers case. I'm Myra Ansari. It only took a few minutes for the jury to recommend Houck spend the rest of his life in prison, and they're recommending Lawson spend 25 years in prison. Both will have a chance to appeal. We have team coverage from the courthouse in Bowling Green and in Bardstown tonight, and we start with Wave News reporter Alina Noakes, who has more on the reaction in the courtroom when the verdict was read.
Well, Myra, what you just read out were the maximum for both Brooks Houck and Joseph Lawson. That is what the jury delivered in this trial. And I'm not sure relief is even the right word to describe what the Ballard family felt in that moment. You could tell there were just these quiet cries because the judge was not allowing any outbursts. And it felt like there was a 10-year-long wait lifted from this family as they finally had a semblance of closure in a case they have been searching for answers for 10 years later. And I say a semblance because we still do not know where Crystal Rogers' body is. We have no evidence of a crime scene that was really presented during this trial. So still, while there are some unanswered questions, there was a sense of relief. And that from the moment that the jury brought back their conviction, as well as when they heard that this jury was going to give him a life sentence after just 5 minutes of a deliberation over a sentencing recommendation, that's what they returned. It's a decisive, concise sentence that they recommended here, and it felt to this Ballard family as this is what they knew they were going to do. There was no question about it. You can see in this video we're showing you now the family leaving the courthouse. They were quiet, clinging to one another, not wanting to make any statements, except for Ashley Miller, who's Crystal Rogers' oldest daughter. She admits that her relationship with her mother at 14 when she disappeared was not the closest necessarily, and she admires that her other siblings have stood up and made statements in the courtroom and takes a lot of pride in that. But she just talks about what the family has been experiencing, this grief of a good mother lost to her children, her 5 children, so soon. And the prosecutor saying there was no reason for it. If you don't like someone, you don't have to kill them. And she talks about what she would like to say to the Lawson, Steve Lawson and Joseph Lawson, as well to the Houck family in this situation.
It's not fair. It's not fair what they did. Not at all. I might not have been as close to Mom as my brothers and sisters were, but there's been days in my life where I've just sat down and cried because I wanted my mom there. Like having my babies. Like she would have loved my kids. She was a great mom, and she did not deserve what was done to her at all.
Again, emphasizing that good mother to 5 children that she was. We heard that over and over from both witnesses and from her own kids. And if you're wondering, kind of what the reaction was from Houck's family, Lawson didn't have any family in the courtroom, but from the Houck family, we did have Rosemary in the room as well as his sister Rhonda. And from what I could tell from both the verdict being read and the sentencing recommendation, they really had no obvious reaction at all, even though prosecutors were sitting there saying this is a Houck family conspiracy conspiracy and pointing at Rosemary Houck, saying that it all started with her as early as May when she told a witness who's testified, Charlie Girdley, that she wanted to get rid of Crystal Rogers. And if you're following this case, you know that they have been called unindicted co-conspirators, Rosemary and Nick Houck. And at this point, we have no indication of when or if any charges against them in this case will be coming, Myra.
All right. Thank you so much, Alina. And in Bardstown, the community is coming together to show their support for the Rogers family. We have seen people wearing pink. They've been holding up signs as Sherry Ballard rolled through. Logan Perrone is live in Nelson County, where Rogers family just returned home to this very heartfelt welcome home.
Yeah, Myra, again, we're here in the heart of Bardstown. These streets were packed no more than about 20 minutes ago as Sherry Ballard and the rest of Crystal Rogers' family made their way back from Bowling Green. You know, we got here around 3 o'clock this afternoon. The streets were empty. We were able to actually see some pink bows start to get put up on some of the light posts, some ribbons here on some of the businesses, and then within an hour, the streets were packed to support Sherry and her arrival. There are still some people out here that have remained. Again, so some pink shirts that are left standing. And we were able to speak with one of the people who was here in support. That was an old friend of Crystal Rogers. She says this has been 10 years of just this family of a community coming together for this moment.
It's been hard. It's been hard from everybody. Everybody's been following this case, and I'm so proud of our community for everybody sticking together and everybody being out here right now. It means a lot.
And of course, we'll have more from Bardstown, some more reaction on Wave News at 11. But for now, Myra, we're live in Bardstown. Logan Perrone, Wave News.
All right. Thank you, Logan. So now, Brooks Houck and Joseph Lawson, they're going to have to wait to see how a judge will officially sentence them. The jury recommended life in prison for Houck, and the jury recommended 25 years in prison for Joseph Lawson. Crystal Rogers' family is expected to give victim impact statements during that sentencing. And that official sentencing day is set for August 21st. Joseph's father, Steve Lawson, is already appealing his conviction related to the disappearance of Crystal Rogers. A jury found him guilty on conspiracy to commit murder and tampering with physical evidence charges. Prosecutors say that he helped his son, Joseph, and Brooks Houck hide details about the case. Lawson's defense team cited 8 reasons for requesting a new trial. And some notable claims include the court failing to provide accurate jury instructions. They also point to a conversation that Rogers' mother, Sherry Ballard, had with a witness. A witness told Ballard that she hoped her testimony would bring her peace. Lawson's defense team called the conversation inflammatory. A judge recommended Lawson spend 17 years in prison. Right now, Lawson's scheduled to officially be sentenced on August 6th. Now, Sherry Ballard has always maintained that when answers come out about Crystal's death, we'll learn more about her husband, Tommy Ballard's death. Crystal Rogers' father was shot and killed in 2016. He and his 12-year-old grandson, they were preparing to go hunting on family land in Bardstown when Ballard was shot in the chest. During a hearing in preparation for Brooks Houck's trial, prosecutors revealed that they have the gun that was used to shoot Ballard. They claim that it was bought from Houck's brother, Nick, who was a former Bardstown police officer. Nick has never been charged in connection to either case. The FBI is offering a $10,000 reward for information on Ballard's death. And we have much more coverage on the Crystal Rogers case and what happens next. You can find it in our live blog on wave3.com, and that breaks down what exactly was said in court. You can also download the Wave News app to have any new developments sent right to your phone. All right, in other news, the wife of the